But we're going to start off with what was just being asked, and in the last 48 hours, we just got confirmation from Manchester United that the takeover, the 25% takeover, has gone through with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I think we're in the position where Manchester United is trying to grasp at any positivity as possible, Gary. But what does this actually mean in reality for Manchester United?
Initially, very little is the honest truth, because my understanding is that the takeover still has to be ratified through the Premier League and all the various bodies. So it's not as if anything's going to be a quick fix either. I think you can say yes, there's a shift to edge the Glaziers out, but most of the United fans want them completely gone. I don't think anything's going to change in the immediate future, sadly, from United's point of view.
But can it give a bit of a positive boost to the fans, to the players? I don't know how players are actually affected by any of this, really.
I don't necessarily think the players would be, on an individual basis, affected by it. I mean, look, it's 25%, so he's not the major shareholder. But I actually do think, once it has been ratified, that he will have more of a day-to-day than the Glazers. It's almost like from afar, they still want to be owning Manchester United. And money has been spent, well over £1 billion in 10 years, well over. So it's where the money's gone and how it's been spent in the recruitment, and we talked about that the other day. That's been the major problem. So if he's able to get people in place to sort the recruitment out, then maybe, slowly but surely, Manchester United can get back to where they want to be. Now, to get back to where they really want to be in terms of winning the Premier League, I think they're a million miles away at the moment. But I still think, even though he's not the major shareholder, I think it's a positive move once he does get his feet under the table.
But it's been said that despite him not being the major shareholder, he will be in charge of the football operations side of things, where the Glazers will focus on the commercial side. So that's one positive. But the shame is, like Gary said, Dave, it will take a while for the process to go through, because in an ideal world, you want it to happen even before the January transfer window, because that's going to be a crucial period of time for Manchester United. It
is, and I'm not sure whether or not they can actually get themselves in order to get hold of these key...
It's about 6 days away at this point.
It's almost impossible. It hasn't been ratified. It's going to be very, very difficult. I'm sure they would have had conversations just to see what's what, but I find the whole thing bizarre. If the problem's recruitment, selling 25% of your business to somebody to solve it seems like a real scenic route of a way to go, to be honest. And the other little bits and pieces that are in there, 200 and something million to fix the stadium, you're just putting your finger in the dam. It's ridiculous. They need a new stadium. Tottenham Stadium was £1 billion. That's how far they are away.
Is that the first job, the stadium?
It's a mess. It's a total mess. It's been completely unloved by the Glazers ever since they've been there. They've had nothing spent on it. And I think it reflects on everything. I think it reflects when I watch the players walk in again today, dribs and drabs, big coats. I said it the other day in the same game. All of those little things. You're on show to the world. We're watching this from here, from Malaysia. You are on show. And they look a mess. The whole club looks a mess.
Gary?
Yeah, I totally agree. It is the little things that make a big difference, but there are some huge things that need to be rectified at Manchester United. Maybe they can fix the leaking roof initially at the stadium, eh?
That's already half the budget set out,
but
probably.
It's true, isn't it? That's where the club is at the moment. By all accounts, the facilities at the training ground are far from the standard that they need to be at, and far behind a lot of the other Premier League sides. So that needs to be sorted out. But ultimately, it's about the club having a lift. I don't think this takeover will, or partial takeover, will have any sort of lift as far as the players are concerned. That's got to come from within the players as individuals, and from the head coach, from Ten Hag. He is the man that is under the microscope.
Speaking of which, is there now more added pressure on Ten Hag, you think?
Well, because of the takeover going through? No, there isn't any more added pressure, in my opinion. It's exactly the same. He is still the head coach of Manchester United, as he was yesterday, as he is today, and as he needs to be from his perspective tomorrow. And I think that is, that is becoming more and more debatable.
It could be either absolutely fantastic for him, or it could be the worst possible thing for him. I mean, we just don't know, and it's going to be interesting to see the conversations behind the scenes, and obviously we'll only find out once they become public, between him and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Look, a lot is wrong with Manchester United. We know that, from the Glazers all the way down to the players and recruitment attitude, as Dave has just said. But I think that while Eric Ten Hag is not the total solution for United, I do think he wants to do things the right way. And by that, I mean get that discipline that Dave's talking about. Making sure you've got players who are working without the ball as much as with the ball. And I look at them now and I think you'll do well to finish top 6, you know, especially where they're sitting. So I think he wants to be thinking, OK, I need to get a lot of players out. Are they willing to accept a lesser fee, or maybe even just pay up players just to get them out? And this is a conversation that Eric Ten Hag will be having, because he is under pressure. I agree, it's not any more or less, but he's massively under pressure. This is Manchester United. Whatever's happening and whatever's been spent, however's been mismanaged, this is Manchester United, and they shouldn't be where they are right now.
But the reason why I'm asking that is because, like I mentioned, Sir Jim Ratcliffe will be focusing on the football operation of things. And one of the reports that's coming out is one of his focus would be to appoint a sporting director. Dan Ashworth's one of the names that's been thrown about. It's just a matter of whether, you know, there's a bit more focus on what Ten Hag is doing, the results that's coming out of that. But to the other side as well, could this appointment, could this takeover actually be beneficial to him in the sense of, OK, there's less pressure of him to having to deal these things. They're going to appoint a sporting director that's going to take the pressure off him a little bit so he can focus on coaching and managing the players.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good point. First and foremost, I think he is a coach, you know, brought up in that Ajax mould. He's not a Sir Alex Ferguson, I'll get the coaches around me, implement my philosophy and I'll keep the discipline and look after the club. He's not that guy. But don't forget, recruitment, football operations, that includes management. That includes coaches. You know, they're tasked with bringing in not just players, but managers and whatever else. And you know, I'm sure they'll show him a little bit of love initially. But if things don't go well, Ineos are not a company that messes about. So I think maybe there is a slight little bit of pressure. And I probably wouldn't be wearing a sky blue polo shirt at home if I was Ten Hag.
He's also realised that Michelle's working on the United game, so he's feeling even more pressure now. We know what
I was waiting for you to bring that up, Scott. I knew you were going to mention that. But just on that topic as well, is he all at risk? You're saying he's under pressure right now, but is he at risk of anything? Because if you look back at the managers that has been sacked from Manchester United, they were often sacked when United was sitting around the 6th, 7th spot. And United's now in 8th place.
But I also think you've got to understand you've got to look at the whole package, you know, where they are. And he's trying to do the right things. He's got these arguments with Jadon Sancho. He's trying to instill discipline in the way that Sir Alex Ferguson did it. It's not working because they're just not winning games. Yeah. Interesting, Marcus Rashford is back in today, Christian Eriksen too. It's almost like, OK, you've had that slap on the wrist. Now go out and prove what you can do. And I think it's a great opportunity for these players and for the manager himself as well.